Hi there, how are you going? Okay, so thank you so much for joining me. As I said in a previous video that you might have seen, the St Paul's Cathedral book launch video, I said there were 2 books launched in the space of about 2 weeks. Well,
It's an absolute pleasure to welcome you to what I actually have been waiting for quite some time, which is the book launch of what is called Sydney, A Love Affair. What a great title, by the way, Matt. What a great title.
Thank you.
Why is it important to Intercontinental Sydney? Well, you possibly know that I have arrived in Australia almost in a month 7 years ago. And in my very first role, I was actually based in Melbourne, a city which I thought was superb, and I didn't think anything could ever top it. I come to that later. In my first 6 months at the Intercontinental Melbourne, the Rialto, I was actually surrounded by beautiful photographs, almost in all corridors that size. And I said to my management team, who actually made these photographs? And they said, well, there's a guy called Matt Irvin. And I said, can we meet Matt Irvin? And they said, oh, it's very difficult to get hold of, but we could try. So Matt Irvin actually came for lunch, and the lunch was a very fabulous lunch. I think we were lunching for 4 hours, and we were talking about how we could actually bring this all a bit more together, etc. And that was the time when Matt was working on a book called Melbourne, A Love Affair. And we had the pleasure then to launch it at Intercontinental Melbourne, the Rialto. We had a fabulous party. We had a great crowd, similar to you. And we had the Lord Mayor of Melbourne, who opened the event and said a few words, which meant a lot. When I transferred to Sydney 2.5 years later, there were 2 significant moments. One was that I must correct myself. There is a city which is even more stunning than Melbourne, and that is Sydney. And I don't know whether you know that feeling when people ask you, when you had lived in both cities, what do you prefer? I would always say, I don't think that there is necessarily a preference. You need to ask, what do you prefer in each city? And each city is beautiful. However, because I have children, and because I love the outdoors, and because I love the water, and because I love culture, Sydney is absolutely amazing. I mean, whenever I go on a bad day to re-energize myself, I actually take the lift up to the 32nd floor, and I stand on our rooftop balcony, and I have this view from the Harbour Bridge, via the Opera House, via the Botanic Gardens, via our very impressive naval base, and then you see the Pacific Ocean. Where in the world other than Sydney could you have that? And that is truly re-energizing. If I may possibly make one more comment, Lord Mayor, under your beautiful leadership, this city has grown so significantly in infrastructure, in culture, and in all aspects of quality of life. I think Sydneysiders will be forever grateful for the great work you do here. You're a substantial part of why Sydney is so special. Now, the second thing I said to Matt was, we need a book in Sydney. We had coffee table photo books, but nothing which would come close to Melbourne, A Love Affair. So about 4 years ago, we decided we need to do this together. So Intercontinental Sydney actually supported Matt on many trips to this city. I can remember Matt and I were driving around Sydney. So I'm tremendously proud that you have actually completed this enormous task, and what comes out of it is absolutely amazing. So congratulations, Matt. It's a very, very important day in your life, I know, and it is great that we may be part of it. So tonight we launched the book here, but tonight we also open the exhibition for Sydney, A Love Affair, with some beautiful shots which we have selected, which you have around this room, which you can enjoy until the beginning of January. We will support Matt on that. And of course, we have 50 books which have a sleeve just for the Intercontinental, which we will give to some of our VIPs over the period of Christmas, and we're very proud to do that. So for now, what can I say but congratulations, Matt. It is a very important moment for us. We're very happy to be involved with you. I would now suggest I hand over to you, Lord Mayor, and thank you very much for being here today.
So hello everyone, and when Jörg invited me to do this launch for Matt, I was delighted to accept. I've had a number of lunches here with various organisations where they've asked me to talk about Sydney, and we catch the lift up, not to the roof, but nearly to the roof, isn't it? And it's quite stunning, and it's you have always made us all so welcome, and we're very appreciative of that. So I was very, very pleased to be involved in the launch of this very beautiful book. And I'd like to acknowledge the original custodians of our land, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and pay my respects to their elders, both past and present, and acknowledge the people of the 200 nationalities who live here in our city. So it's a pleasure to welcome Matt to Sydney. As a Melbourne-based photographer, he's already explored that city and published his Melbourne book. But obviously, and here I am getting into a little bit of a competition. He's left the best till last, as tonight we're celebrating his love affair with Sydney. Matt has a thriving practice across a range of photography, corporate and commercial, fashion and festivals and events, photojournalism and architecture. And I hear he's going to get a warehouse soon. He will need a warehouse to do all of that. So perhaps it's a combination of the last three categories, festivals and events, photojournalism and architecture, that allows him to capture what some call the essence of a place in his city photographs. This is something that we as city makers try to tune into as we make our own contributions to the layers and stories of our city. The very best developments will reinforce Sydney's character and respond to its nature. We can see in this book how rich and varied that the character can be. There are more than 200 images of harbour and beach, streets and buildings. But unlike the tourist brochures, Matt has also shown the rainy evenings, the foggy mornings, as well as the sunny days and the spectacular sunrises. They were taken over a long period, over a period of 25 years, and most recently in August. So this is the work of someone who wants to dig below the surface and understand the place he is photographing. It is rightly called Sydney a love affair, and I would like to thank Matt for such a magnificent portrait of a magnificent city in all its moods and diversity. It reminds those of us lucky enough to live here, and for someone like me lucky enough to be able to be involved in the work of the city, placemaking for this city. We all know how terrific it can be and how inspiring it is, and that's why we all work very, very hard at the City of Sydney to ensure it not only is as beautiful as it is now, but continues to be more so into the future. So thank you, Matt. I'm proud to launch this beautiful book. It will find many admirers and buyers too, I hope. Thank you.
Lord Mayor, thank you very much for your very kind words. May I ask Matt to say a few words?
Right Honourable Lord Mayor Clover Moore, honoured guests, ladies and gentlemen and members of the press, thank you so much. What an honour and a thrill it is to be here at the Intercontinental Sydney amongst such esteemed company to launch Sydney a Love Affair, which I've just laid down. That's not very cool, is it? Let's have a look at it in all its glory. There we go, that's better. Does that look okay? Jamie Jury will like that. Stay like that. Lord Mayor, thank you so much. Just such great work on this amazing city. Just keep it up, as Jörg said, it's just fantastic. This city is a gift and most definitely an icon to the world. It's world famous, absolutely world famous. So where did it all start for me? Well, as an 11-year-old, with my cousin, who one of them's actually right there, over there, Cameron at the bank. Thank you so much for coming. We climbed up to the top of the Centrepoint Tower. Well, we didn't climb, we went in the lift. And I gazed over the rail as an 11-year-old and I went, oh, wow. And I'd never seen anything like it in my life. I'd never travelled overseas, I'd never been anywhere, and that view is, as Jörg has said, it's a view similar to the one they have here. Actually, your view's better because you're closer, but that view is still pretty similar. You can go all the way from the heads to the bridge, absolutely amazing. And that day, the sun was setting and I was inspired. The Harbour Bridge, the skyline, the Opera House, all in one majestic view. But it was about 10 years later that I worked out what I was going to do with my life. I decided I'd be a photographer. Who knew? It was 1992 and I started to capture Sydney with a photographer's eye. So the earliest image in the book is from 1992. As the mayor has said, the book is made up of my photographic adventures over the preceding 25 years. And I'm so inspired by this city. I thought I'll come up here, I'm launching my book, I'm going to relax, I'm going to have some time off, No, I got my camera, I went out into the beautiful balmy night and enjoyed the literally thousands of people who were promenading around the Opera House and around the harbour. So I'm already working on the second edition. It's coming, second edition. It'll be a while, but very exciting. So the complexity of a city, and I'm interested in more than just the picture postcards. The complexity of and what makes a city tick is multitudinous. Sydney is summer. Sydney is epic. Sydney is rugged. Sydney is man and nature together at its best. It's beautiful and it's glamorous. It's just spectacular. It has it all. And of course, that means it's a photographer's joy. Love it. There have been countless adventures to get to this point. There's something like 100,000 images that were distilled down to the 200 or so here. But I have to say, and it might be something that people take for granted, and often with my photography, people go, I walk down that street every day, and how come I don't see what you see? So my thing is, one of my favourite things in Sydney is to get on a ferry. And once you get on a ferry, and you're just gliding around, and everywhere you look, any time of day, it's absolutely beautiful. So I implore on you, jump on a ferry, put your phone in your pocket, and go for a ride. Let the ferry take you on this beautiful adventure. You don't need to go to Disneyland. It's so good. But of course, Sydney is far more than the harbour. It's the beautiful beaches, the beautiful architecture, new and old, and of course, everything that's going on the streets, including the amazing festivals. And there always seems to be fireworks every time I'm here. You guys love fireworks. There was fireworks last night. I don't even know what they were for. So look, as a photographer, Sydney, all by itself, you really don't have to do anything much. It is a beautiful picture postcard. And my job is to be in the right place at the right time. So this book is about 200 of those moments, give or take, which I might add, I'm going to get a little bit nerdy, has been meticulously printed. I've been printing things for almost 30 years. We did a great job on this one. Oh, somebody sent me a picture. That's quite interesting. Great work, Lee. Oh, and there's the picture and my speech has disappeared. Look at me. Whoops. It's like the Truman Show. Hold a second. We'll go. We'll do a little bit of the girl from Ipanema. Dun, 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 dun. Anyhow, enough of that. Yes, so the quality of the book is amazing, and I implore you to just look through the sumptuous pages. The printing and the resolution is all absolutely fabulous. To the thank yous, I'll wrap things up now. This man here, Mr. Jorg Bockler, a gem of a man who is going to be very, very sadly missed by all of us here, very much so by me. He's become a very great friend of mine. You're going to make me emotional, stop that. He's giving me that look. He's giving me the look. But he's going home to Germany, so that's a beautiful thing for him and his family. He's a man who's at the top of his game, and we will all miss him very, very much. And he has supported my art form, which has always been heading towards this book, which Jorg has already talked about. So, Sir, your support has been ever-present and unrelenting, which is what I love about you. Yeah, so there's just simply not a better person to have in your corner. If you ever want to get anything done, it doesn't matter what it is in life, if you get Jorg in your corner, it's going to be done times 10. And even so, Jorg and I are just a couple of years apart. Jorg started life as a naval officer. This story will make sense in a moment. And my dad also started life as a naval officer. There's a lot about Jorg that reminds me of my dad, who sadly we've lost. My dad's sister is here tonight. Where are you, Nancy? But there's a lot of things that Jorg and Dad have in common, and that is team, logic, getting on, and doing an amazing job. So thank you. So thank you to Dad, and thank you to Jorg.
Thank you.
Yes, to Jorg. And can I just say, my dad was so present in my photographic life up until we lost him about 10 years ago. To my amazing wife, sorry, I'm ready to dance. To my amazing wife, Dora, over there, this book, I think I managed to get it past you. It's dedicated to you. I don't know if you've noticed that part. No, there you go. The book is dedicated to Dora. For those who know Game of Thrones, she is my sun and my stars. And of course, we have two gorgeous children who are not here tonight because they're 2 and 5, and they would be right here if they were here. But they are the absolute light of my life. Of course, there is so much more I could say. Sydney, like to capture a city, you can't capture anything on this scale with this level of complexity in one book. So for now, I'm going to let the images do the talking. As they say, a picture tells 1,000 words. So this is quite an essay. That means there's 200,000 words in here. To close on a quote from Barry Jones in the book, in my experience, the 5 greatest harbour cities of the world are Sydney, Rio de Janeiro, Venice, Istanbul and Hong Kong, in that order. Hear, hear, a toast to Sydney.
Matt, thank you very much indeed, and I'm sure everybody in the room agrees. It was a highly emotional and a fabulous speech. You're actually a very talented speaker. Would everybody agree? Thank you so much. So with that in mind, those of you who have questions for Matt and possibly the Lord Mayor, we will be here in the room for a moment. Other than that, please enjoy the beautiful music which we get live presented here tonight, and also enjoy the fabulous canapes which are made for you in the show kitchen over there, and the champagne and the cocktails. And I understand that John has actually created one cocktail which is called a love affair, and it is dedicated to you, Matt. So enjoy all of that and your evening. Thank you very much.